Hello everyone and welcome to our video series on Learn German Grammar. In this video, we'll be doing extensively the dative case. Not only will you be learning where to use dative, but also how to use it. So let's begin. Dative. Let's look at two sentences first. Die Mutter kauft ein Kleid. Die Mutter kauft der Tochter ein Kleid. The first sentence is without the dative object, whereas the second sentence is with a dative object. Let's look at the second sentence once again. Die Mutter kauft der Tochter ein Kleid. In this sentence, die Mutter is the subject and the nominative. Do remember that the nominative always conjugates the verb. If you want to revise the nominative case, you can watch our video on nominative. Coming back to the sentence. Ein Kleid is the directes Objekt or the accusative object. Since the article for Kleid is das and in unbestimmt ein, it does not change to any other article in accusative. It remains the same. In this sentence, der Tochter is the indirectes Objekt and this object is the dative object. And since it is the dative object, the article die Tochter changes to der Tochter. In sentences with two objects, the indirect object is mostly the person for whom the action is intended. In this case, the mother buys a dress. This is the action. She buys a dress for the daughter. That means this action is for the daughter. Hence, the daughter is the indirect object or the dative object. Let's look at another example. Die Eltern geben ihrem Sohn einen Kuli. In this sentence, die Eltern are the subject, which is nominative. Einen Kuli is the directes Objekt, which is accusative. And why is it einen? Because the masculine article ein changes to einen in accusative. If you want to revise this, you can watch our video on accusative. The second object, ihrem Sohn, is the indirectes Objekt or the dative object. In this case, ihr Sohn changes to ihrem Sohn because it's the dative object. Do remember that whenever you see two objects in a sentence, then mostly the person is the indirect object. It is the object for which the action is intended. In this case, the parents buy a pen. This is the action and they buy it for their son. That means he is the indirect object. Wann benutzt man Dativ? It's very important to understand when to use the dative case. Let's see when to use it. The first case, I'm sure it's clear to you by now. Whenever there is an indirect object, this object will be the dative object. In most cases, it's a person. It could be singular or plural. This is answered by the question wem. Wem kocht Petra eine Suppe? Petra kocht dem Mann eine Suppe. This is the question you ask for the dative object. Let's look at a few sentences where we can see how the article changes. Der Weihnachtsmann gibt dem Mann ein Geschenk. Since Mann here is the dative object, the article der Mann changes to dem Mann. Let's look at the next sentence. Das ist meine Tochter. Ich gebe meiner Tochter einen Kuss. Since the article for Tochter is die, in dative, meine changes to meiner. We'll be summarizing all the articles at the end of the chapter. Let's now take an example for a personal pronoun in dative. Das ist Emma. Ich schenke ihr eine Schokolade. In this case, since Emma is feminine, we use the personal pronoun sie in nominative, and this sie changes to ihr in dative. You can watch our video on dative personal pronouns to revise all of them in detail. So these were a few examples to understand when dative is used in the case of an indirectes object. Let's move on to the second use. Mit Dativ Präpositionen. Here it can be used with Person oder eine Sache, and both can be in singular or plural. Let's look at a few examples. In the case when it's a Person. Ich spreche mit einem Mann. In this case, this is the prepositional object, and since mit is a dative preposition, ein Mann changes to einem Mann. Let's look at the next example. In the case of Sache. Ich fahre mit dem Auto. Here, mit dem Auto is the prepositional object, and since mit is a dative preposition, das Auto changes to dem Auto. There are a few dative prepositions. The most common ones are von, zu, seit, nach, ab, aus, mit, bei, gegenüber. To learn the usage and meanings of these prepositions, you can watch our video on Dativ Präpositionen. Let's look at another use of the dative. Verben mit Dativ. In this case, if you have a verb with dative case, you don't need an accusative object. You directly use a dative object. Let's look at a few examples. Die Uhr gehört mir. As you can notice here, die Uhr is nominative and mir is the dative object. There is no accusative object in this case. Here's another example. Wie kann ich Ihnen helfen? Ich ist the nominative, Ihnen is the dative object. Since helfen is a dative verb, we just take the nominative and the dative object. You can watch our video on dative Verben if you want to know which of the verbs are dative verbs. Coming to the next use of the dative case. Mit manchen Adjektiven. Sometimes with some adjectives we use the dative case. Here's the first example. Mir ist kalt, or you can say mir ist es kalt. Similarly, mir ist es langweilig, or you can say mir ist langweilig. What happens to the article im Dativ? Here is a summary of all the articles bestimmt, unbestimmt und negative Artikel im Dativ. To understand them better, you can watch our video on dative article. Here's a list of possessive pronomen im Dativ. You can watch our video on possessive pronomen im Dativ to understand them in detail. Personalpronomen im Dativ. Here is a list of all the personal pronouns that are used in the dative case. To understand them with examples, you can watch our video on Personalpronomen im Dativ. Wonderful! I hope you enjoyed learning Dative. Danke! Thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, do give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos. If you have any comments or questions, you can leave them in the comment section below. Tschüss! Auf Wiedersehen!